Welcome, and thank you for joining the Windows Server Summit. I'm Daniel Lee, Program Manager on the Windows Admin Center team, and in this session, we'll be talking about what's new in Windows Admin Center version 1904. Before we dive in, for those of you who are new to Windows Admin Center or less familiar, let's start with a short intro video to Windows Admin Center. Windows Admin Center is server management reimagined, the evolution of Windows Server inbox management tools such as Server Manager and many of the MMC tools you're familiar with. Windows Admin Center is server management simplified. It's easy to install on Windows 10 or Windows Server. There are no dependencies, and you can download, install, and start managing your servers in just a few minutes. Windows Admin Center runs in your browser and is optimized for both local and remote management. And adding a server is simple. With just a few clicks, you're ready to start managing your servers. Windows Admin Center is server management integrated. All the tools you're familiar with are just a click away, including certificates, Device Manager, Event Viewer, File Explorer, Firewall, Local Users and Groups, Processes, Registry Editor, Roles and features, and so much more. For automation and scripting, the PowerShell console is available in Windows Admin Center. And for any reason, if you need to use the legacy tools, Remote Desktop is built in, so you never have to leave Windows Admin Center. With Windows Admin Center, you can also connect to a Windows Server Hyper-Converged cluster, which provides a unified single pane of glass for managing Hyper-V virtual machines, storage spaces direct, and software-defined networking. Windows Admin Center supports management of Windows Server 2008, Windows Server 2012, 2016, and of course, Windows Server 2019, and the management UI for new features such as Storage Migration Service, and System Insights is exclusively in Windows Admin Center. Windows Admin Center is server management modernized. It's built with the modern web technologies to provide beautiful interactive controls. It isn't just a replacement for legacy tools. It provides simplified workflows to meet modern IT administration needs, and creating VMs is just a few clicks with smart default values. Also, creating volumes is another example where Windows Admin Center streamlines and simplifies the workflow. Windows Admin Center is built to meet modern security requirements, such as gateway access control with Azure AD and Smart Card authentication, role-based access control, and single sign-on. Windows Admin Center has no Internet or Azure dependency and can be used completely on-premises and in disconnected environments. But if you'd like, you can use the built-in Azure hybrid capabilities to leverage the power of the cloud in your modern data center. Hopefully that gives you an idea of Windows Admin Center, and to learn more, you can go to aka.ms/Windows Admin Center. Next, let's take a look at our journey so far with Windows Admin Center. In April last year, we launched our first generally available release, version 1804. And to give you a peek into our engineering process, after GA release, we plan for the next 6 months, and every month or two, we'll ship a preview release with a subset of the planned features to Windows insiders, and these are versions 1806, 1807, and 1808. And then we accumulated all the new features from the past 6 months, and also include bug fixes, quality updates, and customer feedback, and released our second GA version, which was version 1809. And since then, we've released version 1812, 1902, and 1903 as preview releases to insiders, and just released our third GA release, version 1904 last month. Over the past year, as we released 3 GA versions of Windows Admin Center, customer adoption has been phenomenal. Every month, we have more than 90,000 installations of Windows Admin Center that are actively being used. And on those 90,000 installations, more than 2 million servers have been added for management. These numbers show that Windows Admin Center is the fastest growing server management tool in Windows Server history, and we thank all of you, our users, for this. All right. Now let's dive in and see what's new in version 1904. Customer feedback through user voice is an important part of our planning process, and we're excited to share that version 1904 includes many of the top requested tools. Let's take a look. First, The Active Directory tool is newly available, and this was a number 2 feature requested from customers. You can expand the domain to see the domain information, collapse it to save space. You can search the Active Directory for users and groups. If you click Search, the results for the users and groups show below. You can click on a user to see the details. You can create users and groups and organizational units. You can enable, disable users, remove, reset password, view properties, and locate is a handy feature which switches you to the Browse tab and locates the user in the directory. You can see that the users folder is selected, and on the right, there's our user. And all the commands from the previous tab are available on the Browse tab as well. Dhcp was the number 6 top requested feature on user voice. You can create new scopes by entering start and end IP addresses, set the subnet mask, and choose other options as well. Once a scope is created, you can click the scope to edit details. You can see the start and end IP address, the total addresses available, and let's create a new exclusion range. You can set the start and end IP address, click Create, and you can see it added, and the total addresses is down to 11 now. You can also add address reservations by typing in the name, the IP address, the MAC address for the device, and click Create. You can see that there's 1 address in use and 10 available now. The DNS Tool was a number 7 requested feature. You can create new DNS zones by entering the zone name, set the zone file configuration options, and the dynamic update option as well. Once the DNS zone is created, you can select it to add new DNS records. You can type in the record name, the IP address, and click Create. What's nice is that the pane isn't closed, so you can add multiple DNS records at once. Once you're done, you can click Cancel to close the pane, and you can see the 2 records that have been added. And the same capabilities are available for reverse lookup zones as well. These new tools are currently in preview and will be continuously improved, and we ask you to send us feedback to help us prioritize the next set of work for these features. While new tools are great, you've also told us that improving existing tools and closing the gap with legacy tools is just as important. And in version 1904, we're excited to share that a long-awaited feature, SMB file share support for virtual machines, is now supported. Let's take a look. In the Virtual Machines tool, you can click New to create a new VM, type in a name, and set the generation and host. And for the VM files, you can choose from multiple options. You can choose to use the Hyper-V host setting, choose from a list of the cluster shared volumes, or browse to manually select a file path yourself. You can see that CredSSP is being configured with fresh credentials so that the Hyper-V host can authenticate to and access the remote file share. Let's type in a file share path. And you can see that you can navigate and browse the remote file share the same way you would navigate a local drive. You can use the breadcrumb bar to navigate as well. And let's use this file path. You can see the remote file share is listed in the file path field. You can choose options for processes and memory. And for the operating system, let's choose an ISO file on a remote file share. Again, let's type in a file share path and choose our ISO. Click OK, create. And you can see that we're enabling CredSSP again to create the VM files on the file share. Now, we can connect to the remote file server and navigate the files to see the VM files that were just created. There's the folder for a new VM, and you can see that the virtual hard disks and the virtual machine configuration files are all in a single folder to make it easy to manage. We know that managing servers is not just about tools, but also about being more productive and being able to effectively collaborate with your colleagues. Let's take a look at some of our platform improvements. Developers that spend many hours in development tools strongly prefer dark mode, And to help our users stay productive as they spend more time using Windows Admin Center, we've added dark mode support in all of our tools. Another highly requested feature was shared connections between users. In Windows Admin Center settings, you can go to Shared Connections and click Add to add servers, and we have multiple options available. You can enter manually a single server, import from a file, or search Active Directory. If you search for a certain string, the computers that match will show up, and you can choose as many as you want to add to your connections list. You can also add and edit tags for shared connections, and these tags will be shared and visible across all your users. You can see there's a list for your personal connections and a separate group for the shared connections across your users. It's already a challenge trying to keep all your servers up to date, and we didn't want to add to that pain with Windows Admin Center updates. We've made several enhancements to make it easier to discover and install extensions and keep Windows Admin Center up to date. When you connect to a server, in this case, it's a Fujitsu Primergy server, and at the top, you can see that the Fujitsu Server View Health extension is available. If you click Update Now, we go to the Extension Manager, and when you click Install, it'll download the 5 MB package, install it as part of Windows Admin Center, refresh the browser, and you're done. Now, if you go back and connect to the server, in the left navigation pane, you can see the Fujitsu Server View Health extension available. You don't need to leave Windows Admin Center. There's no need to look for separate downloads or tools. No need to go through separate setup flows. And all your server hardware management tools are right there inside Windows Admin Center. Also later, as you use your tools, you might notice a notification that there's an update for the tool. If you click Update Now, you can see the new version of the extension available. Click Update, and again, this will download the package, install it for you, and update Windows Admin Center. And now, again, without ever leaving Windows Admin Center, in just a few seconds, you've updated to the latest version. We realize that server tools we provide in Windows Admin Center only cover a subset of your day-to-day management tasks, and we've been working closely with many partners to enable managing hardware and applications all through Windows Admin Center. I'd like to show you short demos of each of our partner extensions and how their extensions make Windows Admin Center even better. The Lenovo Xclarity extension provides a solution extension that allows you to manage all your Lenovo servers managed through the Xclarity administrator. The remote control feature lets you remotely connect to the server desktop UI through the baseboard management controller. You can select a server to view the hardware information. Also, there's a BMC IP address link to launch the BMC Management Web Console. And if you go to the inventory, you get a really nice summary of all the hardware information, such as firmware versions, list of processors, memory, drives, and so much more. And in the left navigation pane, there are additional tools for alerts, event logs, audit logs, power consumption, and more. While you can manage all your Lenovo servers through the Xclarity administrator, you can also see the same tools when you're connected to a server in Windows Admin Center, making troubleshooting and management easier by seeing the operating system and hardware aspects all at once. When you're connected to a Hyper-Converged cluster, a dashboard view is provided that lets you see the same hardware information, but in a nice summarized view for all the cluster nodes. The cluster view also provides a firmware consistency report, which is a highly requested feature that helps rule out certain cluster problems. Next, the Fujitsu Server View Health extension. The overview page will give you instant visibility into any errors, and clicking on it will open the Health Tree tab and automatically expand to show the devices in warning and error state, which is very convenient. Clicking on the View Details link will open the Components Health tab, which shows even more details, in this case, for temperatures. And if you're wondering when this happened, you can click on the System Event Log, which shows the date and time of the event, and even recommended actions. Fujitsu has released a second extension for RAID management, and as you can see, has done a great job being one of the first partners to fully support dark mode. And if you go to the storage device tree, you can see all the RAID controllers with drives attached, and SSD lifetime is displayed and monitored by Server View RAID as well. Daton specializes in Windows Server Hyper-Converged infrastructure and provides the Daton Must extension in the Windows Admin Center Hyper-Converged Cluster Manager. You can see a great visualization of the drive mapping, and Daton also provides a really simple and convenient alert service. Without ever leaving Windows Admin Center, you can register from the extension, set up the SMTP server, configure all the email accounts for receiving alerts, and you can also choose what level of alerts to receive as well. As time passes, you can see active alerts show up in the Must extension, showing the category, the alert description, location, recommended action, and date and time. And here's an example alert email sent from Must, and this enables one of the top requested features from customers. The QCT extension supports managing QCT's Windows Server Hyper-Converged infrastructure. The Overview tab provides a nice summary of hardware information and events and charts for CPU, memory, temperature, and power consumption. The Disk tab shows the physical disk mapping. You can click on a disk to see details, and there's a toggle button to show instructions for replacing disks as well. Clicking on the Smart tab will check the Smart status and show notifications for smart warnings. The Firmware tab shows all the firmware components and their firmware versions, and you can click Update Component Firmware to choose a firmware file and update through Windows Admin Center. And as you can see, the QCT extension has also added support for dark theme. NEC released their V1 extension just last month for managing NEC Express 5800 servers. Windows Admin Center integration is built into the alert viewer in NEC's ESM Pro Manager, so if you click on the Server 1 link for this memory error, it'll launch Windows Admin Center, automatically navigate to the NEC extension, and show the DIM with the error status. You can also switch to the hardware event log in the left navigation pane and view when the error occurred. You can see there are detailed views for other hardware components such as processors, power supplies, batteries, and network adapters. There's also a System Overview tab to display the high-level system information. We're excited to share that Dell EMC is developing a Windows Admin Center extension, and we'd like to show a preview of what's been developed so far. The Health Status tab shows a visualization of the status of different hardware components, and what's really nice is that you can click on the pie chart to drill down and see details. And there's a drop-down to change the filter as well. The Hardware Inventory tab has a visual tab list on the left where you can choose different components and view details. The Firmware Compliance feature is currently under development, and for now, you can choose an update source, and the extension will return compliance results for the different components' firmware. The iDRAC tab shows all the iDRAC information and provides a link to open the iDRAC web console. Dell is also working on a hyper-converged cluster extension that provides a consolidated view of components across all cluster nodes, and you can easily switch the filter to see components in different states. The Hardware Inventory tab lists the two nodes, so you can easily drill into each node and view the component inventory for each of the nodes. Dell is currently targeting to release the extension later this year, so stay tuned. Pure Storage is an all-flash data storage provider and has released a Windows Admin Center extension to make it easy to also manage Pure Storage flash arrays through Windows Admin Center. In the Overview tab, you can view an overview of your storage capacity and see nice visualizations of latency and IOPS. In the left navigation pane, you can view host groups and individual hosts and manage initiators. This is a useful feature that provides information for individual servers that can be managed through Admin Center. You can view the disks connected to each server, check if multipath I/O is installed and configured, and easily create new volumes by typing in the name and setting the size. You have the option to mount the volume without having to use the disk management tools in Windows Server. From the Volumes tab, you can also view all the volumes and manage host connections for each of the volumes. Azure Monitoring is built into Windows Admin Center, but if you need on-premises-based monitoring, System Center Operations Manager and SquaredUp are a great solution. When connecting to a server in Windows Admin Center, the SquaredUp extension will show you alerts and performance metrics specific to the workload, in this case, a SQL Server. You can also switch to other tabs to see alerts and metrics from different angles, such as the underlying Windows Server, memory details, the Hyper-V VM it's running on, or the Azure IaaS environment where this resides. You can click on any of the charts to see details, go back in time to see anomalies, and this is all very performant in the UI. SquaredUp also provides a unique value add for application discovery and analysis. From the current SQL Server, you can discover application servers that are connected to the server, and then go beyond and discover the web servers to build a map of application relationships. Then you can switch to the Analyze tab, which is really neat and helps identify bottlenecks, and then you can drill into for more detailed analysis. BitOps provides a solution for tracking configuration changes on your servers. Let's see it in action. Let's say one of your admins goes to the Firewall tool in Windows Admin Center and creates a rule that allows all incoming traffic. You notice this change on the server and need to know when this happened. In Windows Admin Center, you can open the BitOps extension on the server, set the date and time to search for changes. Now, you can drill down into specific areas for changes. For Firewall Rules, we'll select Configuration, then Firewall, and Incoming Rules. And in the top right, you can see the Allow It All rule that was created. By clicking on the item, you can see all the details on what was changed. For example, you can see that the action was changed to Allow, and you can search for certain properties, such as ports as well. You can see all sorts of changes in BitOps and search by category, such as performance, updates, and security. You can drill down and see specific areas, such as roles and features, and see when a role was installed. You can also check when a virtual disk was created, and also see when a host file was edited. As you can see, BitOps provides simple but powerful change tracking capabilities and complements Windows Admin Center very well. All right, so that wraps up our demos for today. There's so much new stuff in Windows Admin Center version 1904 that we couldn't cover today. So to summarize everything, we've released new tools and made tool improvements based on customer feedback. We've made improvements in user experience and platform to enhance productivity. We've added a new PowerShell module for automating connection and extension management. For hybrid, a ton of new work is happening to help you leverage Azure in your modern data center. If you missed the live session on hybrid capabilities in Windows Admin Center, I encourage you to check it out. For Azure Stack HCI, all the management capabilities for Storage Spaces Direct and software-defined networking are exclusively available in Windows Admin Center. And as we showed in our demo, we're continuously making improvements for Hyper-V virtual machine management as well. So please do check out the on-demand sessions for Storage Spaces Direct and software-defined networking. And for extensibility, we're continuously evolving the SDK to support our partners. And speaking of partners, we thank each and every one of our partners for working together with us. And we thank our partners and all of you, our users, for helping reimagine the future of server management.